a lot of you have already been here before, but I'm just going to say a big welcome. It's always nice to be back and see everyone. So before, like I said, me and Laura have arranged this session to talk about a really good cause and Laura's story, her journey. But before we get started, not everyone has met Laura. Some of you have met each other, so it'll be really great just to have a really brief introduction of everyone. Just, you know, your background, your charity, what you're up to today, absolutely anything. And then I will pass the floor to Laura. So I am going to go around my room and I will start with Cassie.
Hi, so I'm Cassie. I've just finished an internship with Givey, and now they can't get rid of me because I've volunteered to help. I've enjoyed myself so much. I'm just harassing Neil and Gemma. It's like, give me stuff to do. I just want to help. It's wonderful. Helping charities sort their digital strategies and sort of get them on board and, you know, raise more money. And it's really fulfilling. Not just being able to help one type of charity, like obviously there's different charities here and I've spoke to so many different organisations that help so many different aspects of society. It's fantastic that I can have a little part in lots of different things that are making the UK so much better. So I'm going to be loitering around a bit and hopefully get to meet more of you and help you out. So that's me.
Thank you. Alan, can I pass it on to you?
Oh, yeah, thanks. Alan, involved in a youth musical theatre group in Weymouth in Dorset. And we managed to survive lockdown without, normally we put on 2 productions a year. That's, and obviously for 2 years we did nothing, didn't recruit any members. So, but we did actually manage to put on a production last November for the first time, and the whole cast of 21 were there. Nobody had to isolate or had COVID, so it just felt such a relief to actually be able to do that and give those youngsters who kind of stuck with us for all that time in bubbles and trying to do remote rehearsals to actually be able to do that. So obviously we're youth focused, and it's about kind of developing confidence and teamwork and life skills for those young people. They're mostly teenagers, and an amazing, a group of like 26 at the moment. There are 3 I know of who have mental health issues, and it's just kind of staggering to think that, and that's just the ones I actually know about. We're currently 6 weeks off from a production of Grease the musical, so very busy time coming up, which will be our Easter production, so lots to do with that.
Wow, sounds exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. There's just so much to do.
A lot of work.
Yeah. And we're just a small team of volunteers who actually run the organisation. So,
yeah.
And of that small team of 10, there's like probably about 3 who do most of the tasks and most of everything. And it's yeah. So which is not really a sustainable model. So we are trying to find ways of kind of delegating, diversifying, getting other people involved, just because obviously, you know, if you know, I get run over by a bus tomorrow, who's going to do the stuff I do? I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of things for us to do with the running of the organisation, which are important.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's nice to be there for these young people.
Yeah, no, that's really nice. Really nice. I think Venetia.
I'm the face behind social media and support at Givey. So anything social media support, it's more than likely going to be dealt with by me. My background is multimedia, and it is a passion of mine to help small charities and causes, because I think they get forgotten about, and it's very much our motto that they don't, and we champion them. So yeah, I really enjoy my time working with Givey, and yeah, that's me. So I'm the face behind social media and support, so anything you need, I'm your girl.
Thank you. Ruby, can I pass it on to you?
Hello, I'm Ruby. I'm new at Givey, but I'm having a great time. I've taken over the podcast, so I've released 2. So yeah, I'm in charge of the podcast and a few kind of promotional videos. Yeah, so it's been good fun.
Thank you. And Nick, it's great to see you again. It's been a long time.
It has been a long time. So my name's Nick. It's my first Givey coffee morning, and basically my background is digital marketing. I keep saying 15 years, and I probably mean 20, but a long time. And actually, my focus is really on quizzes, personality tests, and sort of scorecards, which are all about engagement for small businesses, charities, anyone where there's a need to engage, and primarily it can be focused on attracting a new audience, but it can also about in better understanding your existing audience, using automation and and easy to use sort of quizzes. So I just launched one last week, and already a week in we have this is for a lifestyle of kind of a gym quiz. We've got a load of data back as to what their favorite types of sports are, what the type of this is and that is. So actually, as well as having new inquiries, we've got all the data back immediately on what their preferences are. So when we're thinking, what do we do next? The social media's person is like, well, I've got 10 posts I can make out of this data just to start with. So there's a lot that goes in, and lots comes out just from making use of something as simple as a quiz. And I don't mean who knows the most about the 80s in the pub kind of thing. I mean something where it's one question at a time done on your mobile, that a technology-based quiz. So that's me, and obviously there's a quiz that goes into Givey, which we've worked on with Neil and yourself, Gemma. So it's very exciting to be here and see what goes on the inside.
Thank you. It's great to have you here.
Great to be here.
So everyone's fortunate to know who Neil is, so I'm not going to ask you to introduce yourself. But if you wanted to say anything before I pass it on to Laura.
Yeah, I think that the amazing thing is that is people who've come on the journey, and Nick is very modest in what he's not saying. So he's very much been through a lot of experiences we all have that brings us to where we are today, and why we are interested in the passion and the causes that we believe in. And I think Nick has volunteered to really create what we want to do in Givey, which is really create lots and lots of learnings and tools to enable donations to happen, to enable engagement with donors to happen, engage with fundraisers. And it's not a privileged skill as regards to saying that actually at the end of the day, most small charities and local communities do not have the level of marketing power or the advertising power and so forth. So the whole I get this wrong every time, raison d'être, whatever the word is, to get to a place where we won't create a level playing field by some of the experts we have in whatever we do. Someone like Ruby's come along. We've always had this foresight that we want to be communicating in the modern way, and obviously podcast and how that works, and voice is just as important and so forth. So we're creating, and the people around here are creating ways to kind of enable the likes of Alan and Laura and whatever to join on the journey. So we're here to give, not just to do, basically. So I think that's really what's important. And each time I seem to think that we are kind of moving the dial forward as regards to creating the toolkit to be able to have this forgotten 95%, as I call them, thrive, basically. So, just really grateful, and we kind of will continue on the mission.
Thank you. So I think, Laura, are you happy?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, completely. Yeah. So thanks everyone for joining today. I really appreciate it. And thank you to Neil and Gemma for inviting me, and all the sort of fabulous work you've been doing to help me as well. It's fantastic to be a partner of Givey. So I've done put a little bit of a PowerPoint together just so it helps me articulate my story, my journey. So hi everyone, I'm Laura Helen Brown, and I'm the illustrator and author of My Emotions Activity Book, which is a tool designed for children to be able to open up and express themselves. It was a lockdown passion project that started for me in my journey, noticing that my nephew Harry was starting to show signs of anxiety during lockdown, when over the December period we were told that we were going to have tighter restrictions and that we wouldn't be able to meet over the Christmas holiday. Harry had like a lot of plans with his aunts and uncles to see them over the Christmas holiday for like kickabouts, movies with his aunts, and just generally just having some family time. And you could really tell that it was quite hard for us to tell Harry that that wouldn't be happening. And you could really see that he was feeling quite anxious about sort of the next steps. When were we going to see him? Would it be Easter? And it was just quite clear to me that sort of, as well as, I don't know about any of you, but I had quite a few anxieties during lockdown, that it was actually really impacting the children within my family. So my previous background, way back when at uni, I studied on photography, and I also have a master's in art as well. And then I left university, and then I started a career in the financial services, so completely different to my degree. So it's always, so painting is something that I've always been doing, sort of on the back burner, sort of illustrations of animals and little things, and just being quite creative in my own way at home. So I started to use my illustrations and put them together on some pages, and just starting to sort of draft together an activity book for Harry that he could use with his support bubble, with his grandparents. So it was something that Harry did sort of once or twice a week, and we'd do a page a week together. And it was really interesting seeing sort of some of the insights that Harry was sort of starting to open up about. And we started to build out the activity book. We started to use, started to develop like facts for the animals, or and names for the animals as well. And I started to share it with friends and family, and they also started to use it with their children. And it's really lovely to see some of the feedback that was starting to come back from the activity book and it being used with children. And it became sort of apparent that sort of parents were finding out things about their children that they weren't previously aware of. With the sort of the feedback that I was getting, as well as my role within the investment bank that I work with, I'm on the wellbeing team, and I also trained to be a mental health first aider within the first lockdown. Through my role as a mental health first aider, I started to hear, checking in on people within the bank, and started to hear that also a lot of parents were having similar thoughts and feelings to myself about the children within their family, that they were sort of worried about their children, their children's future, sort of, you know, showing anxieties, and also sort of what family life would be like after lockdown. Would we be going back to the rat race? A lot of parents were saying, you know, they were just really enjoying not having the commute and being able to spend more time with their family. So it was a combination of things. So at this point, I decided to share pages of the activity book with a colleague that had worked in foster care and childcare in his previous career. And he had a look at it, and he really liked some of the pages and sort of some of the insights that I was getting back. So he reached out to some of his colleagues that he used to work with, one of which was the director of foster and childcare for the UK. We had some really lovely feedback from that network that he shared with the activity book. And then from this, Thomas helped me approach the bank. And what we suggested was that that we could print the activity book to any colleagues in the bank within Europe, it would perhaps like a copy to be sent to their homes. We had the bank agreed that they would do that, and it would be like a lovely well-being activity initiative for the children of the parents of the bank. So we sent it out, and the bank funded around £2,000 to print the activity book in its London office and send it out. And it had such a phenomenal uptake that I'm still quite overwhelmed by actually now. We had about 300 people sign up for the book. And then it sort of went out to people in London, our offices in Dublin, as well as Dubai, Germany, and France. So it was such a lovely way for the activity book to be supported, and something that I was doing that I started with my nephew. A couple of weeks went by, and I started to hear further feedback from people within the bank and that had used the activity book with their children. And it really started to show up some insights. There was one colleague that I spoke to and said that the activity book had started a conversation to learn that their child was being bullied in school, and it was something that they were previously unaware of. I was starting to hear feedback like this, or feedback such as little things that one colleague said, the activity book made me realise how much my child likes to pick their clothes. And I had been sort of picking their clothes for them. And actually, it was a real step back for me to be like, actually, you can pick your clothes today, what you're going to wear. And she said it was just such a lovely realization for her. She said that it's been lovely to see her child sort of picking out his outfits and what he wants to do. And it was just lovely to hear sort of insights like this that I was receiving. So I decided that what I would do is that we were still in lockdown, and that I would sort of take some time and build a website to host the activity book. So anyone could download the activity book free of charge. And it's gone on such a phenomenal journey that I'm really proud of. And I think why it's been quite successful is that it allows children to open up and express themselves and who they are. What I wanted was that I wanted the child to be able to guide the activities in the book, and to have lots of like space to draw or write. I know that as a child, I have dyslexia. So as a child, I would love to draw over writing. So it really took off the pressure for any child sort of with the activity book, and sort of quite open-ended questions that led the child to lead the conversation. I think why the activity book has been on its journey it is, and sort of the organisations that are using it, is that I'm probably sure that you're all very aware of sort of the children's mental health crisis in the UK at the moment, and how severe that is. I think it's something now 5 children in a classroom of 30 are likely to have a mental health problem, with 1 in 6 children aged 5 to 16 is likely to have a mental health problem. And I understand that that services for children, there can be a wait period of up to 3 to 6 months, and you can be in a bit of a postcode lottery. So the activity book is really there as a free tool for anyone to be able to use. The activity book is designed to be universal, to be used within a school lesson or part of a group of lessons. And a lot of teaching and educational professionals have been using the activity book and in weekly classes. So they'll do a page a week, which is really lovely to see. And it's great to see some of the drawings that come back and some of the insights that come back. It's been quite a big hit with high profile. But Great Ormond Street Hospital are now using the activity book with their patient families, and they also print them out and leave them in the reception so people can sort of pick them up and use them as and when. It's also been within the play therapy teams, they've also been using it with the siblings of the children that are in hospital, so they can articulate how they're feeling as well, because it's also a pressure on the child, but also a huge pressure on the siblings. The activity book has also been widely well received by Women's Aid. A lot of the local women's aids have been using the activity book as a way to check in on the children that they work with, which can be vulnerable children. And I've had some really lovely feedback that sort of makes me continue to keep the activity book free of charge, just for the reasons of the conversations that it's bringing out. One child support worker mentioned to me that it was the first time that they'd been using the activity book, was the first time they'd been able to engage with this particular vulnerable child. And that for me meant the world. You know, that something that started off with Harry has now become into something that is being used more widely, and is quite successful in helping children sort of open up. I talked a little bit about the feedback from the parents and the child and family support workers, and sort of I'll share this. Gemma will be able to send this on, so you'll be able to have a little look through it. But as I said, it's been really lovely to see the feedback that's been coming in. One other way is that I mentioned the activity book is being used in calm corners at school, and so every month they will teachers will have sort of a weekly sort of an afternoon where you do you go and sit in the calm corner, you read books, you go through the activity book pages, and it's been used in a lot of lesson plans. So it was lovely to hear in Children's Mental Health Week some of the feedback that was coming back, and that some of the children within some of the primary school classes have been asking to do the activity book again because they love some of the pages, and that was really lovely to hear as well. I have also sort of started working with the Buddy Bag Foundation, and I know that Gemma has recently been on a Buddy Bag pack. The Buddy Bag Foundation is a charity that supplies bags of love to children that have entered emergency care. The emergency care will be places like hotels, bed and breakfasts, or safe houses, and that have children and families that have fled domestic abuse and violence. The CEO, Karen Williams, and I, we have started up a fund where you can donate, and professionally printed copies of My Emotions activity book will be gifted to child and family support workers that work with vulnerable children. This is because whilst the activity book is free of charge, not everyone or organisation has access to a printer to be able to print the activity book. And, you know, a lot of people are like, it's great that it's free of charge, but I also haven't bought ink on my printer for ages. So there's expense there. So, you know, that's how we're funding, you know, to get to child and family support workers that work with vulnerable children. So Karen Williams puts together packs for the social workers that work with the children. Givey have been fantastic in helping support our next steps in what we like to do. Gemma has produced a QR code that I'm going to be putting in the new download. So, and it's just a fantastic way just to make giving to what we have set up just more accessible, and I'm really excited for that and to share that in the future. Alongside my work with the Buddy Bag Foundation, what also goes into these buddy bags are sort of jammies, toothbrushes, toothpastes, sort of essential care items that that children would need when they've entered emergency care. And as you can see, Karen has also teamed up with a factory to be able to produce the buddy bag's own pyjamas, which have got the illustrations of my penguins on. So a really lovely way that the children that are doing the book also have the pyjamas with the characters on, and that's something that we're really looking to share moving forward. So that's a little bit from me about the activity book, where it's going. It's a passion project that I volunteer around my time around working in financial crime in the bank that I work for. So any help and support that you can give me, or advice, my dream is to have a supermarket fund the activity book, so that any person, any family or child within the UK could go in and pick up in store their copy of the activity book free of charge. As we talked about earlier, the digital divide is huge in the UK, and the pandemic has made that gap even more so. So that is my goal. So yeah, so how you can help spread the word, sort of social media. If you'd like to receive your free copy of the activity book, please sign up through my website. And if anyone would like to volunteer any of their time, it's something that I do. And sort of, if you see anything on a website, or you notice anything, or you have any ideas, please just reach out to me. It's all through word and mouth, how far the activity got his book and the generosity of other people. So yeah, I hope that gives you a little bit of an idea of my journey, where I came from. And I hope I didn't talk too fast.
That was great. Thank you, Laura.
Has anyone got any questions about the activity book and the journey it's been on?
So the only thing, Laura, is always, looking ahead. I think the ambition and the dream of having these books in one of the supermarkets, as is, will be phenomenal, basically, to achieve that or whatever. In terms of this is the physical side, I suppose somewhere down the line, most kids have mobile phones. So I suppose that would be something that would be an evolution of being able to deliver that in a whatever interactive way or something. So that's something that I think that's another piece of the jigsaw, I suppose, long term, which would be quite interesting to do that, and we can help you on that as well. Basically.
Fantastic, thank you, Neil.
So yeah, no, fantastic, really good, can't wait. We're trying to, obviously we've had a lot of success with through the lockdown with quite a few PTAs using the platforms from schools, mainly schools which were probably where the predominantly inner city schools, where the community themselves didn't have the tech equipment, if you like, to be able to do homeschooling. So I think one of the school, trying to remember the name, Gemma, what was the forgotten? Highgate.
Highgate
Was one of the phenomenally successful by using all the toolkits that we're talking about, from QR codes to donate buttons, and they used basically the technology to the full extent that we've got. And they raised best part of over £100,000 through lockdown. Unbelievable. So I think it's just making sure that we're all kind of playing on our strengths, I suppose, at the end of the day, right? And I think that's really what I see, is that I think it's making sure that we get this out everywhere, basically. And I think as Alan said, even though teenagers or young youth or whatever, you still got the issues at that level as well, basically, or whatever. So it goes through all gender from that point of view. So I think that, to me, it's fun, which is lovely to be able to just, while you're playing, you're learning, basically, which is fantastic. So well done. That's really good.
I used the book, Laura, on my daughter.
Oh, fantastic.
And she just absolutely loved it.
Oh, did she?
Very nice. Yeah, she liked the penguins because one of them was the same name as my youngest daughter, Milana. That was her favorite pet.
Milana is named after my niece.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Mia is my goddaughter.
Nice.
So some of the characters in the book are named after the children in my immediate family. Yeah.
Oh, nice. She really enjoyed it. She wrote loads of sentences, and she told me something about things in school, about like she's got a best friend, and she was like, I'm happy when we're playing, but I'm not happy when she's not my friend. And she's says little things like that. And she came out the other day because I think I got upset with my youngest daughter because she wasn't listening. And she goes, I didn't like it when Mummy and Daddy got angry. I was like, oh, okay. I don't know. And then she made she really enjoyed making her own character at the end of the book. It says make your own character and name it. So
Oh,
she drew a
fantastic.
flamingo and she called it Susie the Flamingo. Yeah, she loved it. She wanted to do another one. I was like, okay.
Oh, fantastic.
It was really good because even though, like, you know, she actually said some stuff that I felt like I already knew about her. But she can be quite like sensitive at times as well. So I wanted to see what she would open up with. But I actually found it was actually really nice to just sit there and talk to her about it. We kind of had that one-on-one session, like she would write down her answer and then we'll be there talking about it, like, why did you put that? And, you know, she goes, her favorite place to be is a play area, which I know she loves them. But then she started talking about why, and I was like, you know, you don't really tend to ask and get into big conversations with children all the time, but this book created that little time for me and her, and it was really, really great.
Oh, fantastic. Well, you have to send me a picture of Susie the Flamingo. I'll have to do a flamingo painting and name it Susie, of course.
I will definitely. And it was actually what Laura mentioned before is I went to Buddy Bag to do a bit of volunteering and pack the bags. And it was really enlightening to see how much there was to do. I mean, we must have packed maybe just under 200 bags. And the bags were from birth till about 15 or 16 or something?
Yeah.
And it was really basic stuff, you know, stuff that we just go out and just buy a load of pack of stuff, loads of toothbrushes and stuff like that. And it was really nice. So a massive group of volunteers. All these bags were packed and they were going to like children in refugee camps and really basic stuff like a comb and like a little pencil case and, you know, like underwear and stuff like that, you know. And there was a little note for a mum as well, which was really nice. I thought that was really nice. So it was, yeah, I think definitely have a look at Buddy Bag, and yeah, I mean, all the support you can give would be absolutely great.
Thank you.
The other point as well, I was just thinking is that this kind of links up to lots of different charities and different causes. It is with mental health, but you know, like Neil mentioned the PTAs and you mentioned domestic violence, but there are so many paths that you can go down. I'm just wondering what are your next steps? Because even what Alan mentioned, you mentioned that you've got some people with mental health, you know, this book could really help them. And that's for a charity that does musical theatre and supports youth. And it's, Alan, I think, is it older children as well, like teenagers?
Yeah, the youngest we have are normally 10. We don't have any 10-year-olds at the moment. So yeah, they're all 12 to 18. But it's when you visibly can see like evidence of at least two of the youngsters who self-harm. You know, you have a really talented 18-year-old singing on stage, a fantastic show-stopping number, and her arm is bandaged up where she's been self-harming, and you think, you know, what are these youngsters trying to deal with? It's just, yeah, and that's just, yeah, I think has been said with the numbers, that's just the tip of the iceberg, and I'm sure there's lots more we don't know about.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, jump in here and kind of fly the flag for Scotland, because although the accent doesn't match, I'm just outside Glasgow. And as it happens, the last Givey Connect meeting, I was hearing Donald's talk. Donald's up there in Killin, and just all these different things. So you may not be aware, but a lot of the language that's used in England is different in Scotland. So I think you mentioned like in schools, like there's a certain corner in the classroom.
Yeah, calm corner.
Yeah, in Scotland, we've got a nurture approach. So they have nurture rooms, nurture corners, and a whole group of additional support need teachers and nurture things on Facebook. And I'm dyslexic myself, so my head's going off with dyslexia bites and made by dyslexia, Dyslexia Scotland. Also the baby box we have up here. I don't know if you're aware of that scheme where all families in Scotland are given a baby box with all the basic needs that are inside this box, and then the box actually serves as a kind of ready-made cot. They're actually being shipped out to the Ukraine at the moment, sort of being reused, and like my head's just firing off of all these sort of different avenues that are specific to Scotland, because we've got ACE Aware Nation and trauma-informed approaches with Scotland. And then there's the National Association of Therapeutic Parenting. Certainly the kids that and the parents who and foster carers who are, you know, we talked about abuse and things there, and the kids who are coming there. I'm certainly like I just thinking, like my head's firing off. I was saying to Gemma and Neil last week when people are talking, I was like, oh, well, there's this organisation and there's this organisation, and particularly in Scotland, it's quite different, as I've discovered. But I have a list, so if you want that list,
that would be absolutely fantastic. As I said, you know, I work on this around my 9 to 5 and banking. So, you know, it's just any help or organisations. I would like to just be able to send it to organisations so they can use it and sit and get their feedback and see what they think. And my actually dad lives in Inverness, so I am full on for the Scotland. So yeah, so that would just be fantastic. I'd really appreciate any help or contacts that you have, and it is just like, oh, brilliant. It is just talking to people and saying, oh, hey, look, have you approached this organisation? I think it'd be brilliant for them. For me right now, what's been brilliant is I've been sharing it on LinkedIn, and sort of contacts have been saying, oh, through this. So that's how it's got to where it's been, as well as a little bit of social media. And I think for me, what was brilliant is that my employers backed the book and supported it, and that gave it the initial clout that I needed to sort of go and push it forward. So anything like that would be fantastic.
Laura, I'm just hi.
Hi.
My brain's going in equally sort of firing off, and I guess just like you said there, you're kind of the way you've got to where you've got to is by backing from your bank employer. And I'm, you know, a lot of I did engineering, and a lot of my friends into financial services, and I see them all with their young families, you know, and they chat around the school gates, and they're in the big banks in the city. And I'm wondering if you knew exactly who the decision maker is, you could go to that could sign off on a couple of grand. You know, you don't need to go to the chief executive of Barclays for this, right? but maybe it's the HR manager, maybe it's this person, maybe it's that person, maybe it's and actually package your story in a way that makes them go, wow, you know what we can do here? We can do good for the bank, which means you know, retain staff, you know, do a good thing for the, you know, make it not just be this faceless, money-driven business, and actually look after the welfare of our staff, and actually try and nurture them back to the office, because most of them are now sat there going, we quite like it at home.
Yeah, 100%.
So actually they have a challenge as a business in how do they operate post lockdown in this world where it's not just 9 to 5 in the city, well, longer than that for financial services, but your story shows that it works. And I can't help but think, how could you replicate that, template it in a way, but replicate it and expand, you know, into LinkedIn and target the managers or the people that might be the use in other banks or other businesses like that, and actually say, here, I did this, it achieved that, and it triggered all the families of the employees, you know, in the businesses, and different conversations starting up from mental health to what kind of clothes they like wearing and all of this good stuff. I think that's a really powerful story that the bank's going to think, yeah, we're doing good for our staff. Because
definitely
staff retention and staff well-being isn't just a kind of another thing in the plan. You'll lose them.
100%.
And if you lose your
great
staff,
resignation period,
your business is compromised. So a bank well, a few £1,000 is not a lot of money.
No, not at all in terms of especially corporate social responsibility and everything like that. I would love to be able to, obviously everything is, I feel quite privileged right now. I've got a roof over my head, I can afford heating, and I can afford food. So that's why I want to keep the activity book free of charge. Ideally, I would love for an organisation to be able to fund the website, which I think is about just over £100 a year. It's, it's not a lot. But I completely agree with you. And I have been reaching out to corporate wellbeing teams at banks. So I've had Barclays share it internally. I've had John Lewis, CBRE, and some sort of other organisations. And it's also been included a couple of weeks ago in the City Mental Health Alliance, a family pack for parents, which is brilliant because I'm quite a small fish in a big pond. But I completely agree with you, and that is definitely the route that I would love to go down to get.
It's a sort of one-to-many route, and I wonder, say Barclays. I haven't been to your LinkedIn page. I'm on your website quickly now. But did the lady give any sort of comment, or would she be happy to, maybe if you went back to write a post or write something that becomes a kind of a growing list of, we've been to 5 organizations, 10 organizations, so that when you're going to the next tranche, they're able to go to your LinkedIn and go, oh, look at this. Well, actually, we should be getting involved in this. Look at this. And then you might even have a few mums and dads in there commenting on this book's, we work for the bank, and it's been really good as well. But the actual managers or whoever the sort of social responsibility team within the banks, if you like, and going back to them, and it's not a testimonial, but it is.
No, completely.
It's making a story around it and making a bit more noise about it, and you're using effectively your background and how you've got there as a template. There's lots of other ways to do it, but you're trying to do rollout, and one by one is going to be much harder than if you could get someone to say, oh, we'll put 100 out there.
That would be absolutely amazing. My dream. And I think because right now I still work in the corporate sector, and because of what I'm doing, it has helped. I don't know if this is the right word, but I think what I've been doing, and because I still work in finance, it's given me clout with a lot of these organizations, because I still work for a corporate bank, but I'm also doing something. So it
might be good for career. You never know, in terms of like, oh, we want to poach her, we want to have we want an art team. Don't dismiss these things from a personal point of view.
Not at all. It's and like you say, I think all these things are brilliant. I'm sort of mentally writing them down, but I think for me, just as an individual, I'm like really proud of where I've got, but I also need some sort of like marketing help on how do I market myself and my journey. I think it's really, I can talk about my journey, but it's very hard to market yourself, like the wording that you're using, the posts that I'm using, and and where do you move that forward? And yeah, I might need to pick your brain.
And another one is on your website. This is just, I know we're quick fire from today, is I think the most powerful bit I've heard today, coming in fresh, this is the first coffee morning, for me, it's like there's the book and there's the picture of the book, and that's one thing, but for me, it's almost the story you said there, like you put it into, if you could condense that into 100 words, we went in a corporate bank, corporate responsibility, it went, and then it triggered a few things we weren't expecting. And then actually have the widget that you've got of testimonials, have that on the homepage, because I know it's in the menu and it's there, but there's a huge thing on partnerships, but they could be half the size, and that's real estate on your homepage. Most people, 90% of people don't go past your homepage. So therefore I'd be making a big more of a noise about the testimonials. Okay, and if the testimonials aren't just Jane, but it's Jane Barclays,
head of corporate responsibility or wellbeing,
then actually you're starting to make a sort of a bit more of noise indirectly as well, without saying, hey,
Yeah.
HSBC, give us your money.
Yeah, and then I think once one bank does it or corporation does it, they all want to be seen to be
Right, and that's the other part which I'm playing on there. They won't want to be the one that's left out, that's
No.
dragging behind.
No, thank you. I'm mentally writing this down.
We'll get the recording, so it's be fine.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
It's good.
Laura, have you ever been approached by other parents that are not from banks, like other professions?
Yeah, so what I would like to do ideally is I want to focus on the community that I live in as well, which is Brixton, and I want to be able to approach more communities within the area and be able to get the activity book out more there. It's brilliant that it's had this corporate backing, and it's been brilliant and it's amazing, but I think within my area and within some of the regions within London, you know, that's where the activity book is also going to make a huge difference as well. You know, sort of knowing the statistics for Lambeth Council and children's mental health and everything like that, you know, it's brilliant that the work that it's done, and you know, it should be for all children. But I do want it to focus a little bit more on next steps of my community as well that I live in. But yeah, so lots of parents have reached out, but it's mainly teachers and child and family support workers that have been picking up the book and using it. And I think parents are so busy, parents and carers are so busy that sometimes it's hard to be able to go and print something and actively sit down with their child, especially when a lot of children have got groups that they attend in the evening, at the weekends, on top of your own. So yeah, and I think it's lovely that you sat down, Gemma, with your daughter and took that time out, and that's what I really want to cultivate with the book as well, by people being able to go to supermarkets and pick it up. And then it's an exciting thing, we're going to go and get our free copy, and then we're going to go and do it in a couple of pages a week, because there's 18 pages in the book, and when I've talked to a lot of teachers, they're like, that's way too much. So they've been using it sort of over a period of time, like a page a week.
Yeah, I did the same. So she did a bit on one day, and then she did the rest of it another day. She would have sat there doing it until she finished it, because she's a bit of a perfectionist, so she likes to be complete. But yeah, I can see that. But I was just wondering about your thought about what you were saying about the marketing and similar challenges to what the small charities have, which I'm sure Donald and Alan can relate to, on how you market yourself. So I think that's even though that's a challenge, it's quite nice that you have that connection with the small charities, in terms like, you know, you're this like a small charity, but I know you're not a charity, but I mean, you have the same similar challenges.
Completely.
So it's really nice. I can imagine there's a lot happening in terms with your collaboration with Body Bag. And I know, like, we have spoken about it, haven't we, Alan, about collaborating with other charities. And you know, that's what we're here as well for, is that, you know, that collaboration can hopefully help achieve some of those goals that you've got.
Completely. And I think for me, with the Body Bag Foundation, what has been incredibly important for me is that Karen has become such a mentor to me as well, just giving me advice. That half an hour every month chat with her is just incredible, to get her advice. And you know, I'm sure Alan and I could have a chat, and Donald, about some of the things, and get tips and things from each other. Be like, have you thought about doing this, or how have you approached this, or this is how I've done it in the future. And just getting that from Karen. You know, she's had 8 years sort of with the Body Bag Foundation, and you know, her giving me half an hour of her time like moves me on in leaps, if that makes sense. And also I would say that I've reached out to people on LinkedIn, and they've been interested, and they've given me 15 minutes of their time, and that's been transformative for me, for how I think about the book and the next steps, and it just sparks. So like you say, like partnering with other charities, I don't think it has to be you know, what you see your value with that charity is and how you can help them. But I think Karen has helped me phenomenally. Just in sort of also just sort of you know, understanding that you can't do everything as well.
I've got two more quick ones. Sorry, Laura. I'll shut up.
No, not at all.
One of them, my girlfriend's a recruitment consultant. Actually, today she's off visiting schools in her local area, which is Harrow and that sort of area. But part of her business, or the business she works for, they have a kind of they have a sort of social responsibility charities donation part, which is to sort of help schools in the area. And I just wonder, because her job is to have the black book of head teachers. You know, that's what she makes her money from.
Yeah,
So if
completely.
you own that business, you know, you might not get every one, but if you have one of them and they get behind it, suddenly you've got access to 100 head teachers. You know, there's a good way of exploding it. So that's one way, and that's through accessing schools. And there's obviously the local councils as well, which would have access to schools in certain areas. And you're talking about, you know, deprived. I say deprived. I lived in Brixton, but yeah, let's be honest, it's under, you know, it's not the richest area of London. So quite fun though, but still, yeah, underdeveloped, if you like. So, you know, be talking to Lambeth Council, you know, have you got context within inside of that? And the other one, because I've lost my friends to their new friends at the school gates. These are my uni mates who went into banking and finance, and now I don't see them anymore. That's lockdown. But now they don't see me. They're like, oh, we're going out for New Year's Eve with our friends from the school gates. I'm like, well, thanks very much. Bye. But it makes me think, referral. Okay. If it was me and I had a primary school kid, you know, and this book generated a couple of conversations of interest. And you know, on the back of your book, I don't know how it prints out. I don't know how it comes across. You know, is there like, hey, now, can you share this with a friend? Can you buy a copy for a friend? You know, and it's shared at the school gates while they're waiting for their kids to come out. It's one of the most social places for parents that I know about, is the school gates. And I think everyone wants to be seen to help others. So make it easy, you know, referral in business. You know, it's if someone recommending it because they've done it and they like it. I think it's really powerful for you, because you're going to get people who are in obviously that kind of age bracket. So there's no point in targeting teenage schools, because it's not your target audience. But anyone who's been to their school, you know, send out a message to everyone who's done it, who's come from that school, saying, would you mind, you know, mentioning it to one or two of your friends, you know, at the school gates. You know, you're not asking them to go there with a sandwich board and say, you know, here I am. But it can be in conversation while they're waiting a couple of minutes.
No, completely, definitely, and it is about that referral and word of mouth and
referral and word of mouth. It's like it's low cost marketing where you're tapping into people's hearts. You don't get that in business so much. It's like, I bought a pair of shoes, fine. Does it touch my heart? No. You know, am I going to wear them with pride? Maybe. If I got 50% off, I might share that voucher with a friend. But in your case, it's a project from the heart, and people will talk about that sort of projects more. And I think that applies to all charities. And you can leverage that more than you can referral marketing from business, because referral marketing in business normally has to mean saving money or vouchers, or you know, get to the front of the queue, that kind of thing. That applies to all charities. That's it for me. I'll shut up.
No, it's so helpful. I really appreciate it. I honestly do. Definitely. It's like, you know, it's you know, it's been fantastic. Gemma and Neil have been fantastic and fantastic support, and it gives you the confidence to move forward in what you want to do, and I'm sure that Alan and Donald will feel the same as well. Yeah.
No, thank you so much, Laura. It's been really, really great. I've been really looking forward to this. I'm really glad that you shared it all with us. And our next step is Ruby's going to do a podcast with you, so that'll be exciting.
I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. We're actually at the end of our session, but I just wanted to end by saying like a big thank you to Laura. It's been really great to have you here. I know I'm going to be hearing a lot of messages from Cassie after this. Can see you looking at me. And yeah, and again, thank you everyone for joining, especially Alan and Donald. It's always great to see you both. And I just wanted to share just a quick little thing. I had so I'm studying for a course, and I had a chat with my tutor the other day, and she was asking me about Givey, and she goes, "Oh, you know, I didn't know you have all these other online services for charities." And she goes, "Why do you have a Givey community?" And she's like, "You know, why? You know, what do you do in the Givey community?" And I was talking about Givey Connect and the group and stuff and all our plans. And she goes, "Oh, but what do small charities benefit from it? What do you benefit from it?" And I said, it's not about what we benefit from it. It's the fact that we're all in a kind of shared space. And what me and Ruby were talking about yesterday, like, you know, we haven't done anything physically face to face with everyone. It's all been online, and it needs to be maybe we should, you know, we can do a bit of both, but whether it's one or the other, it's always great to have both. And what I was saying to her is that, you know, whether our community is physical or virtual, it's giving us a chance to be inspired, which is what you've done today. And it's helping us solve problems and, you know, share humor and vent our frustrations and share our achievements, you know. And it's the people that are in this community, they're the ones that agree, like, passionately with our values and with our shared beliefs. And with that trust and togetherness, there's no limit on how much we can achieve as a community. And so this is why these sessions are great. You know, it brings like-minded people together that are heading for similar goals or the same goals. And undoubtedly that will nurture a rewarding and engaging community. And this is what I was trying to explain to her. I was trying to tell her this, and this perfectly shows that. So Laura, what you've presented to us today and everyone engaging today, that's what has that's what's shown about what the Givey community is. And you know, I think let's just keep this going. It's fantastic, and I really hope that I see you all next month. On the 6th of April is our next one. And you know, Laura, please share your story on our Facebook group as well. You know, we've got about 70 charities on there that would really, a lot of children in that group that would really benefit from that. So, but yeah, thank you everyone for joining, and hopefully see you next month.
Definitely. Thank you for everyone for your advice. I'm going to take it away, and just your feedback and just your support. I really appreciate it.
Great, thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.